I intentionally had to start cultivating a relationship with my dad after my second child.
Wow.
Yes. I cannot remember till I got married. I can't remember myself or my dad sitting down like this to talk. Biggest interpretation, the biggest love you can show your children is to love their mother.
Yes. That's correct. That's correct.
And not just loving them, show it.
Yeah.
Let them know. Mothers, please help your child to love their father. Sometimes their fathers will not have a good relationship with them. The ball will not be in your court.
Yes.
To help those children see the good father in their father. Build a relationship with your children. We have so many bitter young men today that do not have, simply because they do not have a relationship with their father. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me all my days, and I've been held in your hands. And from the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, now I will sing of the goodness of God.
You know, I got to know you when I was in Lagere Church, Advent Secondary School, Ile-Ife. I was a student there, 2003, 2004, thereabout. And most times, whenever you are coming on board to Lagere Church to minister, a cappella most times, I was always very eager to come and look at you there. So when we talk about a cappella in general, Pastor Wale Dosunmu's name will always be mentioned. And over time, when I got to Babcock too, you know, I was always seeing you around. You were in Babcock, very active. You know, most times we just believe this man, wow, very successful man. And there was a time we also heard that you traveled to Dubai. And, you know, over time we just believed, no, this man is really making ways for himself. You got married, then suddenly you came back to Nigeria, Aramedia, boom, everywhere. And we all felt, wow, this man is making a very good name for himself. And of recent, we also heard that you started your publishing career. And you started this year, and you already have about 3, 4, 5 books in Nigeria markets. A very good business you've been doing on Amazon. And you know, it shows that life has been fair with you. Am I right?
Wow, thank you very much. Well, God has been fair.
Oh,
God has been good, but life has not.
wow.
Life has not. It's most times it's not the way people see it or the way people think, and it's a different thing. People are saying it's a different thing that goes on backstage. So there's a difference between reality and what you see.
Let me start by asking you about your background. You know, growing up, we believed, fine, maybe you came out from a very wealthy family. So I've even gone to Babcock University. So I've gone to Babcock University to have at least been very active with the CORD. So I've been very active there. You know, you spend money, you move around. So let's talk about your background. Do you have a very rich father, very rich mother, or you have good siblings who have been supporting you?
My father is very, very rich in the Lord.
Whoa.
He's rich in the Lord. I came from an average background. I won't call my family poor, but because my father had this idea of, as my son, you must go to school. But I can trust you, he could not afford it.
Wow.
He could not afford it. So growing up, it was, okay, let me put it like this. I grew up in a room and parlor, and the kind of room and parlor that I grew up, that's why I say I came out from the middle class.
Wow.
You know, the room and parlor I'm talking about, the room was downstairs. No, the room was upstairs. The parlor was downstairs. Now, you think it's
Duplex.
a duplex. Yeah. Well, it's a glorified duplex. It's a face me, I face you. Whoa. So we had 2 rooms. One, the sitting room was down. So when we want to go and sleep, we'll go upstairs. You know, there's a staircase inside that building. And we're 4. I came from a family of 4. I'm the first from the family of 4. And my parents, they're both from Ayeto Ekiti.
Oh, great.
I came from a family of 4. I'm the first child. There, growing up, we had an auntie living with us. you know. But it will shock you, it will surprise you to know that as a child, I hawked iced tea. I hawked plantain. I hawked ice water.
Wow.
As a child. And so it wasn't, I'm not from a rich home.
Wow.
But like I told you, my father is rich. My father is rich in the
But
Lord.
how were you able to afford at least to pay your fees at Babcock University?
God did it. God did it.
Oh, wow.
When I was going to Babcock, I remember one night, okay, the day my father told me that I would be going to Babcock, I asked my dad, because it was a tug of war. I was a very, very rebellious child, you know, way back. I told people that if you want to know me, go and ask my mom. People who know me now, if they knew me years back, they would not want to relate with me.
Wow.
Because I was such a very, very stubborn child. I was stubborn to the point that I was in a boarding school in Ekiti, administration school in Ekiti. Administration school is in Ikere. I don't know if you know Ikere.
Yeah, I know Ikere quite well.
Now, I trekked from Ikere to Akure.
Wow.
Yeah, I left. There was a time I told my principal that my father was dead. That my father was dead, and we were going for, I was going for burial. So my principal was, but sorry. So he gave me my exit.
Wow.
About 10, 15 minutes, I left school. My father came. And the principal was telling my father,
And where were you going to that day?
I don't know.
Wow.
I just strolled out of school. I don't know how I was going to say it. So I trekked from Ikere to Accra. I trekked it for 3 days.
Wow, that's a long distance.
I trekked it for 3 days and 3 nights. Okay, Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. I trekked for 3 days and 3 nights. So, within that sojourn, I remember that I went to a strange house. I jumped the fence. Then I was in JSS2. Wow. So, in administration school, Ikere. Yeah. So I jumped the fence to a strange house that I didn't know anything. I went to the kitchen. I saw soup. I sat down with the soup, and I started eating. Yeah. You know, and all of a sudden, I heard something like a gate cranking or something. So I jumped out from the window. I jumped the fence. I didn't know that the owner of the house was a hunter. I was just coming from the farm in Ikere. So as I was coming from the farm, I jumped the fence. I didn't know the guy maybe saw or heard the sound. And the guy took his shakabula.
Wow.
Boom!
He fired?
Yeah, he fired. The thing hit the fence and met me here.
Wow.
On my heel. I still have the injury there till today. Wow. That was within the 3 days of my trekking to Ikere. I got to Ikere, went to my father's friend's house in Ikere. He was not at home. I used fork to open the drawer. I took money from there, and I used it to transport myself to Lagos.
Wow.
I was that stubborn.
Wow. Will you call that being stubborn? In fact, I can't find the right word, the right word for that. That's way over being stubborn.
Yeah. It was, you know, I was very stubborn. Wow. I don't know what you call that. At a point, my father, my parents, they were leaders in church, okay? But my prayer for us is that may God not let anything use our children to disturb our lives.
Amen. Yeah.
My parents were so disturbed that my mom had to take me to herbalist houses.
Wow.
Yeah. Different people's house. That I had an incision here. That this boy is a thief. There must be a spirit running after him. So they gave me an incision here. You know, but it didn't stop. It didn't stop. You know, nothing could, you know, stop it. I was that stubborn.
Wow. That's that about your background. Yeah, what are your thoughts about parents enforcing their opinion on their children?
It depends on age. There are sometimes that there's a level that children don't even know what they want. Mm-hmm. You can enforce some things. Now, but if you notice that is not what they want, they don't have interest in that, and they have interest in something else, guide them to do what they have interest in. You know, many of us, when we were smaller, our parents would tell us, hey, I know Shemi, shoemaker ni wa she last, but shoemakers today are millionaires.
Yeah, yes.
I know Shemi, mechanic ni wa she last. Mechanics are millionaires now. So there's nothing you do. I have a friend. He should have been a part of the Golden Eaglets in, I think, 95 or so. 95 or so. He would have been a part of the Golden Eaglets. But his lawyer father beat football out of him. Now he's doing well, but he's still saying it till today that would have been better. But because he was a very good footballer. And that's one of the things parents do to us. Because they believe that anything.
Let's talk about your Babcock University work experience. Because over time, I also got the information that you worked at Babcock University. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Now, getting to Babcock, let me first tell you how I got to Babcock. My father told me that of all those sins I've committed, the only way God can forgive me is to come and become a pastor. So some men, pastors, I don't want to mention names now, some pastors and all that, they came, sat down with my father, and they decided that, look, this guy should be a pastor. And they said I should go to Babcock 2 and study theology. Because as a GSS 1, I was already standing in front of the choir in church to conduct, because I was already writing songs for the choir. So they felt,
GSS 2?
No, GSS 1.
Wow.
As a GSS 1. So, my father wanted a pastor's son. And to him, I was the best candidate for that. So, he said I should fill a form for Babcock. I said I don't want to be a pastor. He said, why? I said, if I become a pastor, I will disgrace you. So, eventually, I filled mass communication first choice. I filled theology second choice. So when I got to Babcock, they gave me admission for mass comm. Okay? Professor DJ, happened to be a family friend. Okay. And he was, I think, the HOD of political science.
Oh, back then?
Back then. So he was the one that got my admission letter. So I went to him, he looked at it, he said, no, you can't study mass communication. Wow. You must go to theology. So he went to the registry and changed the admission letter to theology. And that's how I got to Babcock, as a theologian. And I did it. God helped me, I graduated. I started working. Working in Babcock was quite an adventure.
Oh, great.
Because he opened my eyes to so many things. He opened my eyes to know that some people are called to be a pastor, some people are not. It's not every pastor you see today that are called.
That's right.
To be a pastor. Some went into being a pastor as a reason of circumstance. Okay. He opened my eyes to that. He opened my eyes to the fact that you can be in church and be doing jazz. Voodoo. Yeah. Real ones. Working in Babcock opened my eyes to it. And there were so many things I saw. But another part of it was the girls. Oh my God.
I went to Babcock too.
So we should stop there.
Let's stop there. But really, your work experience at Babcock University, did you serve there as a pastor or as something else?
Okay.
Something quite different.
Getting into Babcock, it was, I will say it was grace, and I will forever be grateful to Pastor Professor Kayode Makinde. Oh. I cannot write my history today without mentioning his name.
We call him Mankind.
Mankind. Yeah. You know why? I was working in Akure, and I got tired of it. So I came back to Elisha, and he saw myself and Sonia Ola, and he said we should go and write a proposal. Where is God? He said, everybody has gone his own way. He said, go and write a proposal and bring it. And we wrote the proposal. We gave it to him, and he employed the 6 of us.
Wow.
As university chaplains. No, university music ambassadors.
Wow.
Yeah. He employed us as the university ambassador. So anywhere he's going, anywhere he was going, we always go with him. We were with him to the point of going to the house, the consular's house, American ambassador to Nigeria. We went with him to his house on the commemoration of American National Day.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we were with him. So it was such a sweet experience, sweet, bitter experience.
Mm-hmm. Now you mentioned chord. Let's talk about your music career too. At least your experience with chord. How you started, your participation and all of that.
That was my sweetest part of Babcock days. Being a student, being a staff, being with chord was the sweetest thing. At a point, I got so frustrated in Babcock. because like I told you, my father couldn't afford, school. When I got to 300, I wrote a letter to the school that, look, I'm not interested anymore. And guess what? When I dropped the letter, the following day, I went with court to go and sing in Ekiti.
Wow.
Yeah. That was how happy I was singing with court. I was just happy. During holidays, I don't go home because we're always in school. When court started, I was not there.
Okay.
I was not part of the founding members of court. But it was when I joined that court became a group that was known outside Babcock.
Yeah.
Are we getting it now? So, being in court was a very sweet thing. Ayokopola, Sonyaola, Jones Omokoro, Fortune Benedio, Bolufa. The rest of them, it was a sweetest experience for me.
And how is court now?
Court is doing great. They're still singing. I had to leave court for, I had this principle over the years that when principle jam reality, one go bow.
One will bow.
And most times, now principle go always bow to reality.
Sure.
Because reality is when you say you have one principle, it's constant. When reality jam out,
one will bow.
One will bow. So the principle of I love singing, I want to be with God, I love the reality of life, of marriage, I couldn't cope with it anymore.
But in the future, in the nearest future, do you still have any plans of doing music?
Yes. Obviously, yes.
Great.
I'm planning on doing a single presently.
Oh, that would be
I'm
fun.
working on one presently.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And now you mentioned marriage too. Let's delve into marriage. I'm sure there was a time, I think a couple of years back, when you wanted to get married. In fact, it's unfortunate that I couldn't come. But let's talk about your wife, your children.
I'm married to the most beautiful woman on earth.
I'll say same about my wife.
She's just. People say that no particular woman is tailor-made for a man. Yeah. People always say it, but I can tell you that from my experience, Adeton is tailor-made for me, and maybe I am tailor-made for her. Wow. Our coming together quite very, very interesting. I came to eat amala in Ibadan. One of the guys that was staying with me said, okay, I have a cousin that you need to meet. I met her. We got talking, blah, blah, blah. And we got into a relationship.
Wow.
The fantastic thing was that when I met my wife, she was not the spec that I wanted. That's a fact.
Yeah.
She was not the spec. So when we're talking about spec, my wife was not the spec. My closest friend, Ayokopola, was so worried at that point. At the time, he just took me in the car and said, let's just drive. We drove to Lagos. Not that we were going to Lagos, simply to ask me, are you sure you want to marry this girl? Because this girl is not your spec.
And what was your spec?
If you know the kind of girls I've dated before I got married, you will understand what I'm talking about. Now, I love them tall. I love them curvy. I love them being able to sing. I love them pretty. My wife is not tall.
I think that's the only thing she doesn't have.
My wife is not curvy.
Okay,
but she's beautiful.
And she sings.
She sings very well. When I met her, she was not singing like this. She used to sing maybe in her fellowship or something.
Yeah.
But, at a point, the kind of girl I wanted, one of my exes came back during that. I think that was about 2 or 3 weeks to our introduction. She came back, and I said, thank God, you're back. And I canceled my introduction.
What?
2 weeks to my introduction. I canceled it. There was real war in the family. My mom was crying. My dad was on me. My brothers. I got so confused to the point that I had to go to MFM. And I booked a chalet there. I didn't go to see any pastor. I was just praying. God. Okay, no. We had the introduction. But after the introduction, I told her, Shebi, we've had the introduction and you are okay now. Everybody can go their way. So go your way. Let me go my way.
Wow.
So we went our different ways.
Wow.
But nobody knew in the family. I think I told my younger brother. And we went our different ways. After that, I got so worried. I went to MFM and I went to pray. And all my prayer was that, God, show me who exactly is my wife. One of the things I dread the most is to marry the woman that God has not approved.
Facts.
So I told God, is it this person or this person? The one that just came back or my wife? I was there for about a week.
Wow. Praying.
And I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. So when I go back home, I switched off my phone and I told God, let the wrong person walk into this house and tell me she's no longer interested.
The wrong person.
The wrong person.
Wow.
And the following morning, the one I wanted, go, came into the house and said, Wale, I'm tired.
Wow.
He pained me. But I was telling God, I was saying, look, God, if this is you, I take it.
Wow.
Inside that pain, I was saying, if this is you, I take it. At the point she became violent. Very violent. Went to the toilet, lie down in the toilet, slammed the door on me, go, get out, I don't want to see you, blah, blah, blah. And she did all that and she left. I was just telling myself, God, if this is you, I take it. I will never forget that experience.
Wow.
But it was a turning point of the whole thing. She was the one I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't cry. I was just telling God, God, if this is you, I take it. That very night I had a dream. I had a man in white holding the Bible, gave me the Bible in my dream, gave me the Bible, pointed towards the direction, and I saw my wife.
Wow.
When I saw her, I looked at my wife, I looked at the man, and the man was just smiling.
Wow.
I woke up, picked up my phone, and sent a text to my wife. I said, we are getting married. Let's fix the date.
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow. That's
The
very
lady
lovely.
that broke up with me did not call me until after I had my first son. And she called me that she got angry. She was this. She came to me. Oh, no. The following day that she did all that, she called me and said, Wale, did I come to your house yesterday? I said, yes. He said, hope I didn't misbehave. I said, no, you didn't misbehave. He said, because she woke up now and she's having a feeling that she came to my house and she said she was no longer interested. I said, yes, you said that. He said, Wale, I didn't know why I did it, but I was just joking. I just smiled. I said, okay, no problem.
Answered prayer.
Answered prayer. But I didn't just tell her. So the next time she was going to call me was after I had my first son. She said I was a betrayer, that I betrayed her. I did this, I did that. That was when I now told her the prayer I had with God and what happened.
And how God answered.
Wow. And I think since then, we've not spoken till today.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
till
God
today.
works mysteriously, honestly. But really, in your marriage right now, what are some of the things you basically feel you can still do better in your marriage? Or what are some of the things you think you are experiencing right now that you think you really need to work around to at least make it better?
I think the only or the major thing is communication. I want to communicate with my wife more. I want our communication to be fluid. But I think at the same time that I'm wanting too much.
Okay.
Because wanting that, I don't want to accept the reality of women. Now, women, a lot of times I see them as confused. They don't know what they want. And they communicate it with emotions, actions. Yeah. They don't talk. So when they want to talk, it is different things they will just be saying. They will just be saying different things. Like, I know you don't love me. I know you can this one, that one. They will just be talking. So when I say I want to increase more in communication, I want to have a sane communication. We have it, but I want it more. Yeah. I don't want a situation where I want to talk with my wife and I'll be thinking, if I say this now, what will she say? If I say this now, what will she say? You know that thing about men wanting to talk to their wives and they are thinking, if I tell her now, she will give me more problem. What she will say will cause more problem. Don't let me say it. Wow. So a lot of men, because of that, they stomach a lot of things. So I want to free myself. And I think my safe place should be my wife.
Yes.
She is actually, but I just want it more. But like I said, maybe I want too much.
Let me look straight into the camera and say this. I'm very sure that most men actually would want this too. they want this same experience. They want to say much to their wives. But most times, they're always scared of, Akilama Babo, what will she say, and all of that. Well, let's go out of marriage and let's go to the last one I have here on publishing. Of recent, you published a couple of books. Let's tell us some things about your publishing.
Someone introduced me to publishing. Should I mention his name?
No, please. Oh, go ahead.
I think you can guess my answer now. So, someone introduced me to publishing. And it's something I've loved to do all my life, but I just didn't know how to go about it. So, he came into my life and he simplified it for me. And the thing became simple. And right now, I think I've written more books than even the person that introduced me to it.
So why are you pointing at me?
So, it's such a good thing for you to put your thoughts in words. You have put it in words, and you are glad seeing it in production. You are holding it in your hands. What a joy.
Fact.
What a joy.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the easiest things for me to write is about God. Because I'm a lover of God.
Yeah.
I'm a lover of children. And I just want children to grow in the knowledge of God. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's use this opportunity. Mention some of your books. At least maybe some of our viewers might search for it and at least lay their hands on them.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wale Dosunmu. I've written quite a couple of books. My books are on Amazon. I've written Samson, A Strong Adventure. I've written David and Goliath. I've written about Daniel and the lions, not Daniel in the lion's den. It's the same story, but we had an inspiration to write it in a way children would easily understand and they will want to read it. The latest addition to it is Noah, the story of Noah. I decided to write that story because Noah is a pathfinder.
Yeah.
The world we live in now, children want to conform. Noah was not a conformer. Imagine in a generation where it has never rained, and God told a man, prepare your house because it's going to rain. Everybody mocked him, laughed him to stalk, but he stood his ground. And that's one of the areas I want children to learn. Don't fall for peer pressure. Learn to hear God and stand on that thing that God has told you.
Wow. That would be great. And you said something earlier that you also want to write about God, basically. Do you have any intention of writing about marriage? Because I know this is one of your main interests, to marriage.
Yeah, actually, on Amazon, my books are on Amazon anyway. Just get to Amazon.com and type Wale Dosunmu. All my books will come out. And one of the books on Amazon is A Blessed Union. But it's a journal to help couples increase their understanding and communication. It has quite a couple of questions, and it has a place where you can write it down. Some people, I found out that one of the reasons couples are having problems is that they have different interpretations to things. Mm-hmm. What marriage means to the wife is not what marriage means to the husband. The wife might get to a stage, maybe the wife came from a broken home, and he'll be like, our parents will survive if you break up, nothing will happen. So, you understand what I'm saying? But to the man, he's just like, I want this thing to work. Now, on the other hand, the man might think, all I want is children. I will concentrate on my children. But the woman really wants the home to work. Yeah. So if both of them do not align on the interpretation and meaning for marriage, they will be carrying different baggages everywhere. Wow. So I have a book, Blessed Union, a journal. It's a journal on Amazon. But right now, I want to make it a real book and bring it to the Nigeria market where people can buy.
I'm sure Nigeria market will be waiting for that. You actually wanted to study mass communication at Babcock before a lot of people interfered and forced you into theology. What do you think would have happened if you actually studied mass comm? Do you think your life would have been better than what it is today?
I wouldn't say my life would have been better, because saying that, I'll be blaming my parents. I don't want to blame my parents. They did according to their knowledge. They acted according to what they know. So I'm not going to blame them. But if I had studied mass comm, I don't know what would have happened. I would have been bigger. I would have amounted to nothing at the same time.
But you have Aramedia right now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Aramedia is something that popped out of that mass comm dream.
Exactly.
I'm very sure about that.
Exactly. I have loved creativity. I've loved journalism. I've loved mass communication for a very long time. And I think the interest in that, coming into our media, I didn't learn graphics from a school initially. I learned from because I had a stint in Ogun State Polytechnic, in Ojere.
Yeah.
We used to call it Ojere then. I did mass comm, I did public relations. So along the line, after school, I'll come and sit with a man. We'll just be playing, so he was designing letterhead, graphics design, all those things. So along the line, I would just sit down with him and he'd just be doing it. I was not that I paid to come and learn. He was just like my area brother. Yeah. So I sat with him and we were doing our thing. And along the line, I just picked it up. So when I got to Babcock, I'll sit on people's system. Remember I told you, I'm not from a wealthy home, so I couldn't afford to buy a laptop. I couldn't afford to buy a desktop. So I would use my friend's system that had CorelDRAW. I would just be playing around, fooling around, and gradually, I picked it up. YouTube, reading books. In fact, there was a time I had to go on competition. Not because I wanted to win the competition, but because I want to force myself to learn.
Yeah. So you did some self-development by
Exactly,
yourself.
self-development.
That's great. What are I want your final thoughts on children who are quite stubborn and their parents' relationship with them. How do you think parents should undo stubborn children?
One of the things I keep telling people is that, number one, it is God that helps to raise a child.
Exactly, yes.
However, the Bible says, train up a child the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. When you raise a child in the ways and the knowledge of God, he will surely grow in it.
Definitely.
At a point, the stubbornness, especially during the teenage years, will come. They will go, but that foundation they have, somehow along the line, will still bring them back. So let the foundation be strong. One of the things I really pray that parents are able to, especially fathers, build a relationship with your children.
Please say that again.
Fathers, build a relationship with your children. Yeah. We have so many bitter young men today that do not have, simply because they do not have a relationship with their father. Okay?
Yes.
Because I'm on this program, let me just say this.
Okay.
I intentionally had to start cultivating a relationship with my dad after my second child.
Wow.
Yes. I cannot remember till I got married. I can't remember myself or my dad sitting down like this to talk. Because anytime he comes, everybody, just get out. Just get out. Because you cannot sit down 10, 15 minutes with my dad and do not remember something you have done wrong. Why Jegba? Why Jayco? No, why Jayco?
Wow.
So anytime he comes and he wants to eat, just move. So we'll just stay at the balcony because naturally when he finishes eating, he will sleep off. So we'll just wait for him to finish sleeping while listening to the 9 o'clock, while watching the 9 o'clock news. He will sleep off. That's when we'll now come back.
Wow.
Yeah. So please, you see, I'm trying to be very careful. I don't want to say, okay, let me put it like this. Mothers, please help your child to love their father. Sometimes their fathers will not have a good relationship with them. The ball will not be in your court.
Yes.
To help those children see the good in their father. We don't know what our mothers are feeding the children. We don't know. I'll give you a typical example. A father pays school fees, buys the uniform, pays the rent, buys the food at home. But simply because of 100 naira biscuits, that the father said, I don't have 100 naira for biscuits, the child will get angry. Yeah. The mother will come into it, give the child the 100 naira, and say, the child is beginning to build a resentment against the father.
Just with that.
Just because of 100 naira biscuits. But when you come and you say, take, you know your father is trying. He has done this, he has done this, he has done this, he has done this, he has done this. The child will appreciate the father.
Yeah.
But now, it doesn't end there. If the father does not cultivate a relationship with that son to explain his own side of the story, somebody said, if an elephant does not learn to tell their story in the jungle, only the story of the lion will be heard.
Yeah. And I also want to add that men should also love their wives. I'm sure you wanted to say that.
The biggest interpretation, the biggest love you can show your children is to love their mother.
Yes. That's correct. That's correct.
And not just loving them, show it.
Yeah.
Let them know. It is not a bad thing. You are not a weakling when you let your children know that you love your wife.
Yes.
It is among men. I don't know what is wrong with African men that will believe when you show that you love your wife, you're a chicken, you're a weakling. No. Let them know that you don't joke with your wife.
Yeah.
And let your children see it. Apart from the fact that they will know your own story, they will learn how to treat their own wives. Exactly. And how to treat ladies in the society.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have one more task for you, sir. Your life in chord. I want you to also give us a song here before we end today's program. Just one song.
I don't know what to sing.
No, I know that one is coming as a shock. I know. So I'll give you some time to think about it.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me all my days, and I've been held in your hands. And from the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, now I will sing of the goodness of God.